And it's true to this day. You realize
I'm a
that?
Swiftie.
Do you see how that works? Do you see what the Swiftie mind is like?
Today, we are back with one of our favorite, most beloved segments, Tasteception.
Tasteception.
Even when I've moved on, even when I'm happier than I've ever been in playing Question, I'm still literally right where you left me because woulda, coulda, shoulda, you know?
Exactly.
And you know exactly what I mean.
Because woulda, coulda, shoulda, right?
Exactly what I
do.
mean.
No, I do. I know exactly what you mean.
Well, you know what? A lot of hand-hearting going on in this episode, and I think it's just going to keep going on and on and on. Welcome back to Evolution of a Snake. I'm Zach.
And I'm Madeline.
And you need to get your ass up and get tickets to the Snares tour right now. I'm sick of telling you. I'm sick of telling you this. Evolutionofasnake.com. Get tickets now. Now.
I'm sick of hearing about it too. I'm gonna tell you that. I'm so
We're
sick
doing
of
it.
hearing about it. And yet,
Mm-hmm.
here we are, and we're doing it again.
We're shaking the cup. DC, we're talking like less than 10 tickets left. So by the time this comes out, who knows, it might be sold out. Boston, NYC, you got low ticket warnings. Let's go, girls. Get your boots on and let's lay the house down. We've been asking.
Speak now.
Speak
You have to speak now.
But, you know, if you're not coming to the Snares tour, which you should be and you're dead if you're not, today we are back with Phone a Snake, one of our favorite, most beloved segments, which we will be doing live at the Snares tour, actually.
By the way.
Just a little promo. If you love it that much, come and see it. But today we are going to be asking our audience what the Taylor Swift song and what the Taylor Swift album is. I did a video about this recently, and there were so many conflicting comments about what it could be. And there are so many different like avenues and roads you can go down with how you narrow it down.
Right.
Like, is it the album that best represents her songwriting? Is it
Right.
the song that best encapsulates young Taylor, old Taylor? There's definitely a split. Madeline, do you have any thoughts on what the Taylor Swift song and the Taylor Swift album are, or do you decline to comment?
Well, here's the deal. It's like just exactly what you said. It really depends on what you're asking me. If you were to ask me, what is the Taylor Swift album that you would say is the best album to somebody who doesn't really like Taylor all that much? Like, you need to listen to this album and then maybe you'll get it. I would say Folklore. If somebody was like, if I was talking to like, if I was trying to prove my Swiftie card and I was talking to somebody new who was like, oh, I love Taylor. What's your favorite album? I'd be like, I love Speak Now.
Period.
You know that? Have you ever heard of that record before? Swiftie. But if you're asking me just on a personal level, what is the best Taylor album of all time? I can't answer that question. I decline. I decline to comment. Thank you.
Madeline has retired from ranking albums. This is a position
retired.
She took last year, and she has stuck to it. She said she refused.
I'm not doing it anymore because you know what? It's never right, and I hate looking at it. Every time I do it, I'm like, this is
it
how
doesn't feel
are you
good.
Supposed to sit down and say "Speak Now" compared to Torture Poets? You can't do it.
It's not fair.
It's not possible. I won't do it.
I feel like you can rank. For me, it's like if I had to rank, if you were gun to my head forcing me to rank, it has to be like the 5-album split. So like once I get to 1989, I could compare those 5 girls to each other. And after that, the other girls are on their own. They're in their own league.
And that's a very good point. The early from debut to 1989, I feel like I have a really good shot at being able to be like, these are truly, like, I could rank these. Everything else, I don't know. How are you guys even comparing Reputation to Red? I don't get that.
You can't get Tortured Poets down to Speak Now. It don't make no sense. And it's not fair to rank Debut against basically anything that came after Reputation because she was 16.
Yeah, it just doesn't make any sense. And you know what? I'll say it. I keep seeing these people trying to make these comments like, oh, well, you know, Chappell Roan had a better debut record than Taylor Swift. Olivia Rodrigo had a better debut record than Taylor Swift.
Apples to oranges.
Apples to oranges. And Chappell Roan, I would like to remind everybody, 26, ladies and gentlemen.
Yeah,
it's just not the same.
In mind.
It's
let's
not
keep
the
that
same.
In mind. Sour by Olivia, though. Formidable debut. But I have to say, in terms of overall quality, it's about the same as Taylor. It's not front to back.
I agree.
Debut is not front to back. And if your argument is that Olivia's is front to back, girl, that ain't true.
And it's not my journey. And it's not my journey. I will say that Debut, to me, when I was 13, that was front to back, baby.
Oh, it was front to back. Absolutely.
Front to back. But
then
anymore,
when we're listening,
no.
When we hear A Place in This World on the Eras tour, then you realize, no, it's not front to back.
To be fair, if I was in the audience and because I was gagging. Do you remember London Night 3? I was gagging for a debut. I was like, oh my God. And then she was like, oh, you guys are so lucky if you know this one. I was like, oh and then it was us featuring Gracie Abrams. But I'm saying if she had done A Place in This World,
You see,
Swiftie card out.
mm-hmm.
You see how that
See,
works?
I probably would have gagged too. I'm trying to think. Did I get any debut songs? I did. I got Tim McGraw and Cowboy Like Me mashup. Yes, I did. Yes,
Yeah.
the
Well,
hell
yes.
I did.
Yes.
But even so, I wanted Tim McGraw in full. I have to say, I did. That's what I was looking for that, and well, you know, I
Did
got
we
half of what
receive
I
it?
wanted. No,
Did we
didn't.
receive
We
it?
never
Well,
do.
no.
We never get what we
never
ask
do.
for. So, Madeline, I did a little tally of like what the most popular album was that was submitted to us. And by the way, if you submitted, we had strict instructions. If you did not put the title of the album and the name of the song in the question, it wasn't even screened. Okay. I was specific. I said it has to be this way. So the numbers could be a little bit different, but I think there is an overall trend. What do you think? And let me tell you, there's no competition. There is one album that cleared all of them that everybody almost universally said was her best.
Folklore.
Wrong.
What? What are the
wrong?
No.
Folklore was number, wait for it, 5. Mm-hmm.
That don't make no sense. So what are they saying?
47 people said Red.
Is that Red. Is that number 1?
That's number 1. Red number 1 with 47 votes. Yup, from our Patreon subscribers. Number 2, we had Fearless with 14 votes. Number 3, we had Speak Now with 12 votes. Number 4.
Can I say something
Yes.
before you continue? I know exactly what they did. They were doing Swiftie card. This is exactly like what I just said. I mean, I'm not saying it's wrong. I don't think so. I have a Swiftie card. But I definitely think this is Swiftie card behavior. You guys, I think really it might. I'm serious.
It might be a little Swiftologist influence too, with the Red being so clearing. I don't know. Do people universally think that? I think they do. Well, actually,
I think people really do like Red, so that is fine. Like that, okay. But number 2, Fearless. Now hold on a second. Which isn't to say that I don't think so. For the record, I think so. Mm-hmm. I think anything could go in number 2, and I would smile, except for like the real clunkers.
Then why are you making this shady comment?
Because I think that's what it is.
Man, do you really love Fearless? Because man, I love Fearless.
Well, here's what I'm trying to say. I'm trying to say that the public, the general public, the population of the world would say Folklore, and I think we can all agree on that. And something weird happened here.
I don't know that we can. Agree on that.
Oh, this is crazy. This is crazy. I genuinely thought that people were gonna say Folklore. The last time I did it on my Instagram story, this was like, to be fair, like 2 years ago, but it was like crazy. Everybody selected Folklore, and I was like, okay, that's what it is. So I guess that's just like the mentality I've been going with, and now I'm really quiet because I personally think that's crazy. I'm not saying it's wrong. I'm just surprised.
You're gagged.
No, I'm gagged.
It's okay to be gagged. So number 4 was Tortured Poets Department before Folklore with 11 votes. Then at number 5, we have Folklore with 6 votes. Then we have 1989 with 5 votes. Evermore got 4. Debut got 2. Lover got 2. Midnight's got 2. And Reputation got 1.
Now, I would like to make another comment. So is this or is this not evolution of a snake? I'm asking you. What is this place?
People ask us, where did the name of the podcast come from? It's called The Reputation Era.
That's really quieting me. And you know what? The four votes for Evermore, that, keep them. It's like when somebody tips you $2 on a $60 tab, it's like, keep it.
Yeah.
Also,
don't
Reputation,
even try.
She doesn't even need to be in this race. That's what you guys don't realize. She didn't even need to be there. And she was there generously and graciously, and this is how you treat her? Okay, wow. Okay. No, I'll remember this.
We're taking her to the green room, and we're giving her a glass of champagne, and we're saying, rest your feet, queen.
Because this was an insult. This was an insult. That it's not the fact that I was last, it's the one vote.
Yeah, there might have been another one, to be fair, because I discounted all the submissions that didn't have titles.
You
and
see
there
how
were
that
quite
works.
a few of those. So it could be skewed. But I think in general, that reflects the state of our nation, the Snake Nation. So should we go maybe in chronological order, I guess, and discover each album and what people are saying the songs are? Now, this one actually kind of silenced me a little bit because it has Debut as the album, but the song that was selected to be...
Hi, Snakes. This is Andres. I'm calling in from Chicago, your favorite city. Hope to see you here in June. And I'm calling in to make a case for why Debut and Red, yes, I chose two, are the Taylor Swift albums. I think Debut best captures her artistry. It is truly the blueprint for what a Taylor Swift album is. And yeah, I don't think the old Taylor is dead, despite with what reputation Taylor might have told us. But I think you could theoretically make a Sister Songs episode about any song she's released since and pair it with a song from debut. And, you know, you might have to do a little bit of math to make the connections, but you'll get there. As for Red, I think Red is the album, like, based on how the public recognizes her. Just by the diversity in its sound, you know, it has country and pop elements. Just, you know, it is the breakup album from Taylor Swift, and that's kind of what people have come to know her for. It has some of the best Easter eggs, which is a symbol of her fan engagement. The looks, the classic Red era Taylor look, is something that a lot of people still associate with her. And yeah, as for the song, I mean, it's Cruel Summer. I think you guys can make a case for that.
No explanation. It's Cruel Summer. Well,
I don't know. Now, there was a lot of things that were just said. I'm like, I don't even know where to start. I don't even know where to begin. I don't think, listen, can I talk to you about this? I don't think that the look that people associate Taylor with is the Red era look. Can I speak on that?
I was just about to say, that's not a reality.
I don't know what it is. I'm not sure what it is. But I mean, everybody always says like, "Oh, grandma chic." It was that, but it was also hipster, and I think it's like so specific. And it's like I don't really think about her dressed like that. And when I see a picture of her, I'm like, "Oh, that's Red era." You know what I mean? Because it's so identifiable, and it's not. It hasn't carried on. You know what I mean?
I don't think people remember her that way. The only like really iconic Red image that I think of her is like the circus jacket from the Red tour.
Yes. Yeah, there's that one. I also always think of her in just like high-waisted shorts, generally.
But I don't think that's the sustaining look.
No.
And also, I don't think a look being memorable makes it her best album. Now, can we come on?
No.
We can come up with something better than that.
And part two, how can you say these are the two best albums and then you say Cruel Summer?
And with no explanation.
Can we have that conversation? Yeah, there will be no explanation. There will only be Cruel Summer. I'm saying if you're going to say Red, you may as well say All Too Well, because then that makes sense to me. You know what I'm saying? Because
there were many such cases, actually, and I deliberately tried to pick albums and songs that seemed kind of like weirdly put together. And you know what? We didn't get a justification for why Cruel Summer, but I'm saying it. Debut being the Taylor Swift album, being the hallmark blueprint of everything to come. I think it's the blueprint only in the sense that it was the first, because I don't think there's a lot of debut influence on Torture Poets Department. However, there is a lot of Speak Now on Torture Poets Department.
And I think we should have that conversation. And people are scared. People are really scared to have that conversation, but it needs to be had.
They don't want to talk about it.
If people, in my opinion, if people want to do like the nostalgic, this is the Taylor Swift album, you kind of have to either go Fearless or Speak Now, in my opinion. Debut is just like, it's such a specific thing. And it's not like the other girls.
And
you know what I mean?
And Speak Now are just better albums. Like objectively, they are just better. It's better music. It's more front to back. She's had more time. She's had more expertise. The progression from debut to Speak Now actually is insane.
Oh, it's scary. It's really scary. Nobody else is having this kind of project. Nobody else is going from this to this. They're not doing stuff like that. They don't have the range. They
From
don't
Tate McRae's
have the
first
range.
album to So Close to What are we witnessing that kind of jump in quality? I regret to inform you that we're not.
No, I'm not seeing that. I'm not really seeing that from anybody else. It's almost unfair to compare to Taylor, because what she did is like nothing I've ever seen before in my life. I mean, Olivia Rodrigo is still cooking.
An ingenue.
Yeah, I if she can produce a Speak Now style album, like anything that's even remotely close to that, I will gag.
We're clapping and cheering.
Really gag. Yeah.
I'm going to give you an option for Fearless. I'm going to give you, do you want to hear someone justify Fearless and Dear Reader, or do you want to hear someone justify Fearless and Love Story?
Fearless and Love Story. Because I know this is the truth. I know this is the truth.
This is the truth. We've been knowing that was the truth.
Hi, Snakes. My name's Mindy, and in my opinion, I think that Love Story from Fearless is the Taylor Swift song. I think it is one of her first songs that really kind of gave her a lot of traction in her early career, so it's important for her legacy. But also the main idea of the song is all about, you know, being confronted with opposition and following your heart anyway, which is just such a theme that has followed her throughout her entire career. Maddie Healy, Tortured Poets Department. But yeah, so that's what I think. I hope I get picked. Thank you. Bye-bye.
Many people are being dragged headfirst fearless. Many people.
It's a disease, and it's a disease I have.
Mhm.
And I keep getting sick, baby. And I just keep getting sick because I love to be dragged
Chronic
headfirst fearless.
infection, no cure to be found.
It's such a delicious little album. And I'm going to tell you the truth. It's like we were talking about earlier. It's like, yeah, I really loved Debut. I really loved it. And it made me a Swiftie. But like when Fearless came out, oh, that changed everything. It
Oh,
really did.
yeah.
I was like, this is for life.
Mhm.
This is, I'm locked and loaded because this is the only thing in the world that's like this. That's how I felt about it. I was like, there's nothing else that makes me feel like this album. There's nobody else that is talking to me and like people like me on this level. There's nothing like it. It's the only thing that makes me feel better. I lived inside the album. It did everything for me. It came out
It
at the
was
right
me.
time.
I am
Yeah.
fearless. That's the
Exactly.
thing.
And it was so
All
inspirational.
of these things are fearless. I
It
think that
made
makes you
me-
fearless.
Exactly. If I were to think about something like what do you think like made you a creative person? There would definitely be several different things, but I definitely think Fearless had a pretty big hand in that. And maybe just Taylor in general. I don't know. I've never really thought about that before. What made me
There
creative?
was a real charm and a whimsy to Fearless, and also just I think the most important thing about Fearless is that it so confidently was Taylor being like, these are my feelings and they are so interesting and they are so important and you care about them so much, and what other people does to me like matters, and how I perceive it is more important than what they did. And I think that sense of, I mean, it is a little bit of delusion, like main character centering herself
Right.
in the middle of the world, being like, I am 18 years old and I know everything and I have all the answers. And there's something so endearing about that in hindsight, because it is such a neat and tidy album. Like every song has like a story or a lesson or a conclusion. And I mean, how did I go from knowing everything at 18 to nothing at 22? We have been asking, we've been wanting to know. But having a song like 15 as well, when I was 15, girl, I had been needing that.
Yeah, 15 was crazy. To be 15 when 15 came out, I literally thought like she was literally reaching into my head. I literally felt like this is a moment that I've never had with anybody else on the face of the planet. Not even anybody I knew in real life. I
She
felt
wrote it
like
for
I was
me.
closer to Taylor. I was closer to
That's
Taylor
how-
than I was
that's
closer
how
to anybody.
That's how Fearless felt. It really was kind of like so organic, and she hadn't really been marred in any like public controversy or anything like serious or consequential of that nature. She was just really known as this like braggadocious, precocious little girl who got up on stage with her curly hair and sang badly and bashed her guitar around and rocked harder than anyone alive.
And that was something that I think when I think about Fearless is like, there's something very like before. Do you know what I
Mhm.
mean? Like it's very like pre
Images preceding disaster.
Yeah, exactly. Because when Fearless came out, and then the Kanye West thing happened, and
Then the nonsense started.
she started dating, all these famous people. Joe Jonas wasn't even the tip of the iceberg, and then she started getting bashed for not being able to sing, and then like Fearless is like there was like a bubble around it. Like this is the perfect, most pristine, wonderful point in time to have been a Swiftie, because everybody was saying, "Wow, she's so good." And this is so great, and isn't this so amazing? And then all of a sudden, the demons were knocking on the door and they came barging in, and I will never forget that. But yeah, Fearless is very like the beginning when untouched,
The foreshadowing. And also I think it was really good for her to have debut. To me, when I look at it, it's interesting because, for example, when we compare it to Olivia, Sour being your debut is crazy. Like it going that big when you are that young is insane, and I think can put so much pressure on a follow-up. Taylor was not having sophomore slump watch allegations. Like people weren't checking for her second record because they didn't take the first one seriously. It did well at the time relatively, but what was interesting with debut is that it had a huge sales spike, etc., after Fearless came out. Like people really went back and revisited debut for the first time, or found it for the first time after Fearless had become such a success. I think a lot of people, I remember at the time, were surprised to learn that Fearless was not her first album. So it kind of was her debut in a way. Like Taylor Swift was really the training wheels coming. And once she was ready to come back with a stronger series of songs, I think she was also really ready to like explain herself and what songwriting meant to her and like what that process did for her mentally. And the story was so convincing when she was telling it.
Exactly. And you know what? I really liked what you said earlier about how every single song felt like its own story and like every song had a lesson. I never really thought about it that way before, but I think that's what that's literally how I thought of it like when I was a kid. I didn't realize it, of course, but it's like every song does have a lesson. It's kind of crazy. Every song has a point, and
They're
can't
neat
say
and
that.
tidy.
We can't say that about every single album. Not even just every single Taylor album, but like any other album that I can think of off the top of my head, where it's like
It's
every
like something.
song.
It's like a 3-act structure. Like something happens, there's a conflict, and then there's a resolution. And the resolution doesn't necessarily mean like I've forgiven you. It means the resolution can be I'm still angry at you and you did me wrong forever and always. There's a lesson there.
Well, and you know what? I think there's something to be said for how perhaps Fearless is more folklore than even Folklore is. These are allegories. These are allegories. I'm
now
telling
we're
you.
cooking.
Now we're cooking.
Now
You see
we're
how that happens?
cooking. White Horse. I mean, to have I always forget that like having a song like Love Story and White Horse on the same track list is crazy. Like it's crazy because it
Right.
really shows the dueling perceptions that she has of love in her head. She thinks that love is one way. She thinks that romance is one thing, but she is learning in real time that it does not work like that. But she's not quite ready to give up the delusion that it can still be that way. And that goes back to what the caller was saying about like, that's what being head first fearless is. And she has never, no matter how many times her cold heart has been broken, she has never once let that stop her from falling in love again.
And it's true to this day. You realize
I'm a
that?
Swiftie.
Do you see how that works? Do you see what the Swiftie mind is like? This is these are our recipes. Do you understand this? Fearless is the recipe.
Positivity.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Fearless is the recipe.
Positivity.
And everything after that, you could argue, is simply taking a page out of Fearless's book. You could say that. If you wanted to say that, you could, and I couldn't stop you. Am I saying it? I'm not sure.
I wouldn't dream of it. I wouldn't
but it is being
dare
said.
Stop you.
Maybe we should think about that.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe we should think about
take
that.
a little moment and think. Well, you know what? A lot of hand-hearting going on in this episode, and I think it's just going to keep going on and on and on. So, Madeline, for Speak Now, you have 2 choices. Would you like to hear Speak Now and Last Kiss, or would you like to hear Speak Now and You're on Your Own, Kid?
Oh, Speak Now and You're on Your Own, Kid.
Mm-hmm. Let's cook.
Let's cook.
Hello, second Madeline. I am Alejandro. I've been listening to the podcast for quite a while now, but this is my first time calling in, so I'm sorry if I sound a bit nervous. Alright, so for my album I picked Speak Now. I was gonna pick Red, but it just lacks all of these fantasy, whimsical, fairy tale-like aspects to it, which I find pretty important when describing Taylor Swift as a figure, so there's that. And for my song I picked You're on Your Own, Kid. Well, you know, it's a song about reflecting. It features a boy, but it's not really about a boy. It's about her and her experiences, and her delivering those experiences to the listener as a lesson. So there's that. And, well, you know, to that you add the eras of it all and how that important that is to a Taylor Swift universe at this point. So, yep, there's that. Thank you so much, guys.
You're right, and you should say
you're
it.
right, and you should say it louder, and you should say it prouder. Everything that you just said is the truth, and I've said this too. I've said this many times, and maybe I've said other things some other times, but I know I've said this a lot of times. So, Speak Now, in a lot of ways, is the quintessential Taylor record. But I find that the only people who think so are people like me, people who were there. It's really hard for like somebody who's gotten into Taylor anytime after Speak Now or even like after Red to be able to see like what it was, because it was really a lot of Speak Now is actually the era and beyond just the album, and it's really hard to explain.
The world building.
Yeah.
You had to be there. It was the live chat. It was mind linking. It was, I think also that was the year that the fandom really started to take shape for the people that were in it, where we started to connect to each other. And Taylor was really kind of kicking off social media, becoming one of the first celebrities to really understand the power of social media for building her fan base. And also when it came to the liner notes, we actually had some to talk about. We had some things, we had some mysteries that needed to be unearthed, and they were. The connection between Last Kiss and Forever and Always, that was a world stop moment.
Listen, there was a lot going on that album. Better Than Revenge. Listen, you say what you want. When I was 17 and Better Than Revenge came out,
Burn the
I
Witch.
thought I was going to die.
Burn the
I
Witch.
thought I was going to drop freaking dead. I was like, this can't be a real song. Especially because of like how dynamic of a record Speak Now was. We're crying, we're killing, we're maiming, we're doing this,
We're
we're
cooing
running,
little
we're a girl,
babies.
we're a woman, we're a girl,
We're
we're a woman.
nanny.
You know, it's like everything all at once. It's the most incredible record ever made. To that end, am I streaming it every single day of my life? Well, no, but I should be.
You know
That's what
what?
I'm trying to tell you.
I've had a real kind of Speak Now resurgence. It started with the Eras tour when I saw her in the ball gown for Enchanted for the first time. That really broke my brain in a way. And I think everybody has that like specific moment. You've asked me this before on the podcast. I think you said, when you think of Taylor, what's the image? Like what comes to your head? And for me, it's always Speak Now Taylor.
Yeah.
And I just think that album is so, like you said, it's so dynamic. The production on it is really, really good. And it has a lot of songs that simply we have not seen the productional stylings of anywhere else. Haunted, one of a kind. Better Than Revenge, one of a kind. We just don't get it like that anymore.
And we still have these girls talking about, where's Taylor's rock album? It already
we have it.
exists.
It's
called Speak Now.
It can't
Stream
be
it.
surpassed.
Stream it.
And the re-recordings, not bad. Not bad. I stream those re-recordings and I feel even more nostalgic for the album than I do when I listen to the album on its own. And that's the gorginess of the project. But Speak Now, I think also just the fact that it's all solo written, that's an argument in and of itself that it's her best album of all time.
And it's interesting to me that she's never tried to do it again. I really wonder why. I really wonder why she hasn't.
Especially with Folklore.
Right. It's like, why don't we just put, our thoughts down? I wonder if maybe with Folklore, she was like, I've never done an album quite like this before, so I really want Aaron Dessner, specifically Aaron Dessner. Jack was there too, but I would think more Aaron to like come in and like kind of like help me put my ideas onto the paper and make these songs come to life. So that I do kind of get, but it's like, okay, we did that, so let's have a little Evermore self-written moment. But it didn't go that way. So
I was watching last night her singing Nashville on the Speak Now tour, and I was like, this is everything to me. This era, this moment, like that is the diva. Like if I ever had to hand her and say, I love Billionaire, she's never done anything wrong, Katy Perry was wrong, Olivia Rodrigo, hag trying to steal her wig. It's Speak Now.
Trying to steal her wig. Well, people are saying it, and it is the girly, and that's the girly right there. When I think about that B stage on the Speak Now tour and the tree and her little guitar and her little ukulele, that changes things. That's her. No, that's the girl. Dear John as well.
That is a hug for me. I can't describe how reassuring and comforting Speak Now to Taylor is in general, but let's address the song. You're on your own, kid. I'm saying it. It's everything. It's the whole Taylor Swift cinematic universe in a song.
And I really feel like she was trying to do that too. Like that's the thing. This boy that she talks about is like a composite sketch or like an amalgamation of every boy that she's ever written about. And I'm getting worked up. Like it is the song. It's the whole universe condensed down into one simple song. And I really feel like everybody can like the song. Everybody can really connect with it. Everybody can feel it makes me a Swiftie. I really feel in my heart of hearts that song is about the people who have been there since the day one, since
you
debut or Fearless or Speak Now. And Red too. I'll throw Red in there too. I really feel like there's an understanding there that can't be understood fully by somebody who clocked in around Reputation. Do you know what I mean? And I know everybody hates 100%. It when people say that. I don't say it to be annoying. I say it because I feel it.
It hits different. And it's not, the thing is, it's a really interesting song to me because a lot of the songs that I think people glob onto with Taylor are songs that they specifically can relate to. You're on Your Own, Kid is an interesting one because it both makes you feel very parasocially proud of Taylor, but it also gives you a cathartic moment with the kind of the last stretch of the song. And that's why I think it was designed for the OG fans, because like that is how we relate to her. Like, I don't, at this point now, I don't really go into listening to Taylor Swift trying to be like, I need to find the song that's my song that says something about my life, because I'm so in it with her and I'm so invested in like her perspective and her feelings, and that impacts me in its own way. So when I hear something like You're on Your Own, Kid, the line that gets me in that is, you've got no reason to be afraid. I'm choking up. You've got no reason to be afraid. It's everything to me. And like, that is the one part of the song where I'm like, okay, that's mine. That addresses something about me. But the rest of it is like, I'm so proud of you, Taylor. You did it. You did it. I watched you do it. I was there with you in the trenches and we did it together.
Right.
And here we are at the Eras tour.
Yeah. And it's so interesting to simultaneously, and I guess she's been doing this the entire career, which is just the inception of You're on Your Own, Kid. But it's about her and it's about you and it's about girls and it's about the world and it's about us. Like, it's about these specific people who can relate to her, whoever they may be. Anybody who's ever like found themselves in a Taylor Swift song, this is a song about you and for you,
Yeah.
and it's also about me. And it's like it's like a full Venn diagram circle kind of a moment. It's just like everything.
It's 15's older sister, to be honest. It does for me what 15 did for me when I was 15. Like, it's the adult version of that. I need that hug. I need that blanket. It's like Taylor giving me permission to you know, take chances and like do things and live your life. I mean, it's the greatest song ever made. What are we saying?
Well, I looked around in a blood-soaked gown and I saw something they can't take away. And that means so many different things. Sometimes it means the songs. Sometimes it means the career. Sometimes it means the Eras tour. Sometimes it means, you know, the friendships made along the way.
Wanted.
That was all you wanted. Oh my God, that was all you wanted.
That's what that means.
So it means everything.
So thank you. We agree wholeheartedly. Speak now and You're on Your Own, Kid. We are so there with you. All right. Up next with Red, we have Red and Right Where You Left Me, which is a very Red focused song.
So long time watcher, first time submitter. So for me, the hallmark of Taylor Swift song would be Right Where You Left Me, which I always thought would be. But after watching one of Zach's latest video, I realized how much it encapsulates everything that makes Taylor Taylor, especially if we took into consideration her whole mission and destiny as the heartbreak narrator. And as for album, I would say Red, which is my personal Taylor Swift favorite album. I turned 22 the year after the original album came out, and it has everything a Taylor Swift album should have, from heartbreak to self-discovery to pop diva moment.
Say that.
Okay, I like that. Succinct, to the point. She said this is what it is, and that's what you're going to hear. So Right Where You Left Me is an interesting choice. At the same time, it makes perfect sense. And it also kind of makes perfect sense coupled with Red. I don't know if it's just because of like the fall tea, but like I always kind of mentally link Red.
I picture
and
Red Taylor Begin Again Cafe when I hear Right Where You Left Me. That's the mental image that I have.
Yeah, and it just makes perfect sense. I like that pairing. That pairing makes sense. I like Right Where You Left Me as like a quintessential Taylor Swift song. I definitely think it's in like the top 10 because it's kind of like a song about other songs. Does that make sense? Like, it's a song about other experiences and other songs that she's already written, because that's really who she is. She truly is the girl who is right where you left her.
Tayception. Even when I've moved on, even when I'm happier than I've ever been in playing Question, I'm still literally right where you left me, because would have, could have, should have, you know?
Exactly.
And you know exactly what I mean.
Would have, could have, should have, right?
Exactly what I
do.
mean.
No, I do. I know exactly what you mean. And that's the derangement.
That's the gag of it all. But Right Where You Left Me is one of those like genuinely shocking songs that could only have come from a Folklore Evermore moment. It just allowed her mind to be like opened up in so many different ways. Right Where You Left Me and The Lakes are also linked to me because they are both about like revisiting a moment or like sitting still in a period of time. And I love that about them.
Do you remember when we were in Chicago night one?
Oh no.
And she sat down at the piano and she said, "It's so cool that you guys have lakes around here," and I blacked out. And the rest is history. But thank God I have the videos. The Lakes, girls, we don't talk about her enough. And I'm happy to hear her getting brought up. And I do understand exactly what you mean to say Right Where You Left Me is kind of similar to the Lakes, because it is in the sense that, you know, in the sense that.
In the sense that
In
you
the
actually
sense
don't
that.
need to continue.
Yeah.
It just is.
It
You
just is.
understand.
Yep.
In terms of Red being the best album, I mean, it's one of the easiest ones to make a case for because, like you said, it has everything that a Taylor Swift album does have. It's inconsistent quality wise. A lot of people, I think, would struggle to do a start to finish listen of that and be happy. Not me, couldn't be me.
Mhm.
But there is a diversity of style. It really is like, it is such a transitional bridge album in her discography. It's like reaching for something while also still like treasuring something she already has. And it doesn't sound like she's in a hurry to move on from her past either. And I think when we did the ARM lyrics episode, that also reminded me a
Right.
lot more of the timeline for Red and how quickly that shift was, where she was like, I need to do a pop memento. It was like, it really was just like a, hang on, I need to be having fun. I can't be doing Better Man, All Too Well.
Right.
I almost do Sad Beautiful. Like, she was like, I need to live. Can I live?
And she did. And she chopped her hair off and she moved to New York. And that was a girl who said she would never chop her hair off and never move to New York. So think about that. And she said, I'm starting my life over and it's not going to be about boys. Did she get a boyfriend 2 months in? Absolutely,
That's none of our
she
business.
did. And that's
It's
none of our business because she was a girl boss. And I respected it 100%. And Red is kind of like, do you remember when on Evolution of Snake Live, I said that Lover Taylor is pre-billionaire Taylor? Red Taylor is I don't even know,
girl
pre-something,
bossified
pre-girl boss, pre-girl boss
cool
Taylor.
girl Taylor. That's for sure.
Pre-cool girl Taylor. She was
her being the center of the universe.
Exactly. And there's something it's kind of like Fearless. It's like Fearless is like the first album. It's untouched. It's like totally pristine. And then Red is the album where it's like, this is the precipice. You know what I'm saying?
She's growing out of her clothes.
Yeah,
she's like literally
exactly.
stretching out of what she's able to fit into and reaching for something more.
Yeah.
And we love that about it.
It's profound.
It is profound. And with 47 votes, the girls agree. Let's go to a girl that didn't get so many votes. 1989, which is funny to me.
Hey Snakes, Jack here. I can't wait to see you guys at the LA show later this year. Okay, so 1989 is the quintessential Taylor Swift album and also the best album ever, and I will not be taking any slander from anyone. It's concise, has amazing pop bangers, Instagram bio-worthy lyrics, and a classic aesthetic that still feels very Taylor Swift while updating her persona into her girl boss era. And on that album exists Taylor's best song, Style. That one meme of the guy dancing in slow motion to the song is literally me whenever it comes on. I hope you guys have seen that meme. It's amazing. This song literally never goes out of style, as it says. It's simple. It's got an insanely catchy hook, the production feels magical and timeless, has some of her most iconic lyrics, and it perfectly encapsulates the vibe of 1989. So I'm curious what you guys think. Bye.
Beautiful.
I agree.
Gorgeous.
100 wholeheartedly.
Gorgeous comment.
It was succinct. Again, succinct, to the point. He said exactly everything that had to be said, and I agree 100%. There is a case to be made, and it is really interesting to me that more people aren't voting for it, because back in my day, people used to say 1989 was her best album all the time.
Of all
time. And I mean, I think he's
people
right.
are, every single time she puts an album out, people are saying it's going to be 1989 part 2. They've been saying that since Lover.
And they'll never get it. Is that something that you would want? Well, you're never going to get it.
You can't do the Mona Lisa twice. It's not possible.
No, and trying would be futile. It would be completely futile.
I don't know that I would put it personally as her best album, because the songwriting is good, but it's good in a different way. And it's her doing a very specific version of her songwriting. And I think that what she's best at and is known for is not this. It's like this as an example of her cultural impact. Sure. This as her example of like being a tour de force, a hit maker. Absolutely. A game changer, culture trendsetter, trend shifter. Maybe so. But in terms of her best album, I don't think that this is the first one where I'm like, I don't have the clearest argument for it.
Something interesting that he said was like, oh, it had really good Instagram caption lyrics, and I think that's so interesting because I think that kind of feeds into the different kind of writing style that she was doing during 1989. Not that, and it's not to say that Instagram caption worthy lyrics are bad by any stretch of the imagination, but they are different for her because a lot of her lyrics are not the kinds of things that, for example, you want to tattoo. They're not the kinds of things that you want to put under your Instagram caption because people will be doing a welfare check on you, like that kind of thing. And then you had 1989, which was all about, not all about, but partially about like, now I am kind of leaning into this
I'm
pop
cool.
girl persona and I'm finding friends and I'm not going to do the I'm a nerdy girl thing anymore. I'm going to try to be the diva. Whether it was intentional or not, who can say? But it also like feels very of its time at the same time. Like it feels distinctly 2014, especially the era itself more than the music. Like Instagram caption worthy lyrics is like the most 2014 thing on the face of the planet. That's what everybody wanted.
There was also an epidemic of "Darling, I'm a Nightmare, Dressed Like a Daydream" Instagram bios. Everywhere you turned,
Well, it's true.
that
That's the thing.
was
It was
your
universal.
Instagram bio. Did I ever have that? Well, yes. And you're kind of hitting it. You're hitting the nail on the head in that I can't put "I hope the sun shines and it's a beautiful day" and something reminds you wish you had stayed as my Instagram bio.
No,
People would not.
No, they wouldn't get it.
Be worried. I should have, and that's what I felt inside. But instead, I was putting. Actually, you know what my Instagram bio was for a really long time. I've been looking sad in all the nicest places.
You see how that works?
And there's something to be said about that.
There is something to be said about that. I mean, that's the diva right there. That's the diva. That's the bridge between 1989 and Reputation, and people aren't recognizing it.
We
Not-
just
not
the
the
other
way
day
they
we're expressing sorrow for expressing hateration at getting it on the
we were listen, I would hateration it again. But the thing is we didn't know what we were experiencing when we were experiencing
It was
and
lore.
that's the truth. And that's the truth.
Well, if she hadn't hoodwinked us with "You All Over Me," maybe we would have had our ears perked up a little bit more, but we weren't ready.
We weren't ready. And
especially because I was
just
telling
that.
everyone else it was going to be something else. So
oh my god, I will never forget. She's gonna do Mr. Perfectly Fine, guys, get ready.
I had
She's
everyone
doing Mr.
believing
Perfectly
it.
Fine.
They were all
and I was
ready.
like,
and then here comes Maren Morris. We don't want that.
We don't want that.
We don't want that. Up next. All right. Thank you so much. Oh, Style. Wait, Style. Yes, greatest song ever made.
We already knew that. Even Tate McRae agrees.
Even Tate McRae agrees. I mean, of Taylor's, if you're going to go with best Taylor pop song, it's between "Cruel Summer" and "Style" to me.
Yeah, absolutely, 100%.
It's those two. And he mentioned some video of Style. The only video of Style that I need to see is a video of our good friend Kayla freaking it out.
Oh, we need to see that again.
I need to see that again.
She needs to put that on the TO. She needs to put that on the TO.
Kayla, we need
that video because it is literally the best video. I think about that all the time.
I want to
My
put
favorite
it on Evolution of a Snake Instagram story.
Is the faces of the people around or that are just like, what
this
the
video
hell?
needs to be seen. This video needs to be seen. Okay, I'm gonna try. Actually, maybe we'll try and find it and get it in the episode on YouTube. Let's see if we can make that happen for you. Up next, we have Madeline. Ready to ride, ready to mount your steed.
My one vote.
Hi Snakes, this is May from the UK. So my song and album that sums up Taylor's discography, and obviously my personal favourite, has to be Reputation. And by no means my favourite song, Don't Blame Me. Don't blame me, love make me crazy. If it doesn't, you ain't doing it right. What else is there to say? The album it sums up to me her entire life. It's love is frightening and scary and crazy making and passionate and, shouldn't be simple and small and always delicate. But Reputation goes from the absolute soaring anthems of Are You Ready to It to New Year's Day to Delicate, because that's what love is. It makes you crazy. You feel a spectrum of emotions. And that's what her discography wants to demonstrate, that love isn't rational. It isn't fair. There are winners, there are losers, but ultimately it's a spectrum. And yeah, it makes her crazy. And who are we to blame her for it?
I've been asking that question for a long time. I've been asking it, and I think that we need to open this case up because there's some interesting things being said. Don't blame me. I had never thought about that before, but your arguments make a lot of sense. I see it. I see the vision. I was just thinking in my own head. I was thinking maybe
but it's a line. I can't It's a line. The rest of the song, I don't know if I can say it's her best song.
Well,
Well, actually, sorry, it's not best song. It's the Taylor Swift song. That was the assignment. The Taylor Swift song.
well,
So there is something to be said about the theme.
With the theme of the song is
Yes.
Okay. Yeah, I was thinking she was gonna say delicate, honestly, but I also wouldn't say delicate is like the Taylor Swift song. I think it's a Taylor Swift song. I think it's Don't Blame Me.
I think it's a Taylor Swift. I mean, it is.
I think Don't Blame Me kind of suffers from the, how do I want to put this? The theatrics. I think that it's become such a reputation song. It's like it can't really be the Taylor Swift song because it's so reputation coded. It's so themed to the era, and it's so specific. It's like saying "Look What You Made Me Do" is the Taylor Swift song. It's like in the sense that, you know what I mean, but also
you
like
can make an argument for
it can't really be the Taylor Swift song. And you know what? Did I
Rep
want
is
reputation?
a difficult one to pick a song from because it's a character album.
I think that Reputation is one that you can't really say, and this is the T, you can't say it's the Taylor Swift album because it's a different kind of album. You know what I mean? It's kind of like saying
it's something she's never done before and will never do again. And there was a purpose to that album that her other albums have not had. It was like a throat clear. It was like a palate cleanse, but also it was like a rebuke. It was many things. It was a goth punk moment of female rage.
Goth punk moment of female rage. And that's kind of the thing about Reputation. I'm okay. I don't think that Reputation is ever going to be recognized as like one of the greatest Taylor Swift records. And that's fine because I know what it is. And I know what it is to the people. And I know what we see it as.
A lot of people see Reputation as one of her greatest albums. It's gotten, the Eras Tour has certainly rehabbed it a lot. That part of the show goes so crazy. I think people have come around a lot on that being their favorite Taylor Swift album. Whether it will be recognized by the world as her best one, I don't know about that. But she also lost me when she was like, we go from Ready for It to New Year's Day. I was like, girl. So we go from
and maybe
Mount Vesuvius
we should have stayed at
into
Ready
the
for It.
ninth circle of hell.
Well, I think we should make a case for Ready for It being the Taylor Swift song of all time. And when are we going to have that conversation? Because there is something to be said. Yes, it's kind of like she's doing the character thing, but one could make the argument that a girly is always doing the character thing. I mean, let's be a jailer.
He can be my jailer.
Burton to this Taylor. Burton to this Taylor could be anybody. That's the gag. It doesn't have to be what's his name.
It doesn't matter.
Anybody. Burton to this Taylor. That's the thing about being named Taylor. Anybody can be the Burton. That's the gag.
She's so lucky she was named Taylor. It's given her so many gifts.
It has given her so many gags. Burton to this Taylor. We need to open this case up because that's one of her best lines of all time.
And
we need to put that on the Louvre.
She just spits it
because they're not ready to have the conversation. You see how that works? Yeah, you see how that works.
That's Chun-Li.
So I guess what we're concluding is Reputation is its own beast. I know it's like, yeah, I wish it would have gotten more votes, and I think that people need to rally. But I do understand why it didn't get that many votes because it's not really, it's its own thing, and I think we should celebrate that.
But that doesn't mean that we love her any less.
And I think we should celebrate it because it's to be able to really stand out in a discography this big. I mean, she's a different girl, and I think we should cheer. I think we should cheer.
Well, we're going to stop cheering now, so just get ready for that.
Hi, Snakes. So my album and song for her that I think is the Taylor Swift album and song, which is very controversial, is the album Lover and the song Me. And before you start attacking me and whatever, there's actually a good reasoning behind this. And
there
it's
isn't.
Because Lover, well, let's start with the album. Lover, the album, is a very good display of Taylor Swift's range of emotions. It's all these different aspects of being in love, being anxious, being angry, not wanting someone to leave, being sad. And I think it is a really good album, and it has stood the test of time. It's one of her best-selling albums. And then for the song Me, I know a lot of people hate on it, but I think people hate on it too much because it's literally just a happy, fun song, but it's also very witty, and she's like, you'll never find another like me. I feel like that's very evident in, like, I mean, look, the Tortured Poets Department song, it's like, who else decodes you? Me. She's literally... And even at the end, in the Tortured Poets part, there's a little part that goes, oh wait, no. Don't listen to me. But yeah, the album and song is Lover.
You couldn't even keep a straight face because you knew you were talking shite.
I think she was taking the piss. I do believe. I think there are many people out there who genuinely believe that "Lover" is the Taylor Swift record. So I'm gonna let her cook on that. Me, as the Taylor Swift song, you knew you were taking the piss. You knew you were doing something wrong because you were over there giggling like you were writing a dirty note about the teacher.
As
you were back there,
me,
writing your little note.
Who. What the hell is witty about that? Madeline. That's one of your favorite things to do.
And it lands every time. I do have to say, if me gave us anything, it gave me that bit because I love that bit.
It gave you that bit, and they loved it when you did it live. This song, you literally cannot make an argument for this song. I'm sorry.
No,
it has nothing. It has nothing that is a hallmark. Like, to say that it's the Taylor Swift song.
You're correct. And you need help. But I will say, everything that she was saying about Lover being the album, I was like, well, you could say that about Red, though. You know what I mean? And like, Red, I think, is executed better. And I also think
it shows a wider range of emotions.
Yeah.
And so does Tortured Poets.
And so does Tortured Poets. I definitely think that what I really like about Lover is everything around it. I really like to think about what we can know about Lover from Midnights and referencing it on other albums. You know what I mean? Like, I think
you're like, everything
it's
but
canonical.
The album in isolation.
It's canonical. It's part of the lore. But I don't think that there's anything about it truly, I don't think there's anything about it that we can't get from another Taylor Swift record. Sincerely.
This is the thing. There isn't even one song that is like much better than every other song she's ever created, except for Cruel Summer.
We Know the Girl. Yeah, exactly. Every other song is we could have gotten this at this at home.
The Cornelia Street store is full of other options. You can get the generic. You don't need the store brand. You can go
buy the Delicate if you want. Go buy Delicate.
It's nicer. It's name brand. Tastes better. It's cheaper.
Yeah.
This I'm sorry, girl, you lost us. You really lost me with Me. You just can't.
You just shot your chances in the face.
She was trolling us. That has to
She was trolling. Troll. No, it's like when I called in as Carol or whoever.
Cheryl. Don't forget her.
Yeah, I will
All
never.
Right, now we have Folklore, and you have two options here for best song, and both of these options picked a song from 1989. So you can have Folklore and Blank Space, or you can have Folklore and New Romantics.
Ooh, those are actually good choices, though. Okay, let's do Blank Space because I think I agree with that one more.
That's kind of a slam dunk, actually.
Yeah, it's a slam dunk.
Hello, Snakes. Long-time listener, first-time caller. My heart for the most Taylor Swift album wants me to go with Speak Now, but my actual argument is going to be for Folklore because I believe it was the legacy-cementing album. No one could argue that she was just a silly girl writing songs about her exes after that work of art, the storytelling, the artistry, just everything. It also incentivized the rise of Taymania that peaked at Midnights and gave us the Eras Tour. We need to give Folklore her flowers for giving us the Eras Tour because I don't believe there would be one without Folklore. And also because at the core of that album, it is a girl writing songs with her guitar. And that is and has always been who Taylor is. Now for the song, I actually want you to both make an argument. Zach, I want you to make an argument for Blank Space. And Madeline, I want you to make an argument for Love Story.
Ooh.
Thank you. Hold on a second.
I didn't even know that part. I didn't listen far enough.
Oh, no.
Now we got to make the argument.
Hold on. Now, the case can be made that we've already made the argument for a Love Story. Like, it already happened.
Yeah,
we were just doing that. So what was yours again? Yours was Blank Space? Well,
Blank Space.
Let's just do that.
Blank Space. I mean, that's an easy one to pick as like a representative Taylor Swift song because it was the first time she ever broke the fourth wall in a really interesting way. She's doing a very Taylor Swiftian thing, which is taking mean things that people say about her and using it as ammo to create art that silences them. We love to hear that. She's also poking fun at her reputation as being a damsel in distress. She's also doing a little bit of girl boss feminism. There's a lot. There's a lot to cook with, and some great zingers. Great zingers.
Well, darling, I'm a nightmare just like a daydream.
Every line in that song hits. There is no wasted space.
And you know what? I don't think a lot of these girls could do it. That's the thing about Blank
No.
Space. Blank Space is like one of the best examples of Taylor's pop songwriting, and like I would argue one of the greatest moments of songwriting on 1989. And it's really, really hard to write a song like that. That's like clever and like
satirical.
Cutting and satirical and like all these other different things, and still be like a very, very well written pop song. Yeah, fun song. Everybody was dancing, everybody was singing, everybody was clapping. It was the moment. And I definitely think that there's a very strong case to be made. I think it definitely slots itself into top 5 Taylor Swift songs in terms of like describing who she is as an artist. That would be the one that I would turn to as like, here's the example of like how clever she can be, would be where I would put Blank Space in terms of like a Venn diagram or whatever.
Thesis statement of her entire project: boys only want love if it's torture. Don't say I didn't warn you.
And she had been warning us. That's the scary part. She had been warning us since day one. She said, he's the reason for the teardrops on my guitar.
And he has
nobody
been
listened.
so ever since.
Yep.
He's been an emotional terrorist ever since.
Yep.
Folklore, you know what's interesting actually that I want to pick out about that voicemail was saying that it's the quintessential girl and her guitar, because I don't think of Folklore like that, weirdly. I know that it's like acoustic and down tempo, but like to me, it's so abstract and like conceptual. I don't think of her sitting in her room pouring her heart out with her guitar. I kind of more think of her like strolling around in the middle of the night with her journal, being bored in isolation. Like there is such a pandemic quality to that. So I don't know that, like, when I think girl and her guitar, I'm much more inclined to think of like a Speak Now or a Red. That's much more that to me.
Yeah.
But Folklore does have the mature evolution of that approach.
I agree. I definitely think like girl with a guitar is more like early Taylor, and Folklore is kind of like something that my sister said, which I always thought was so interesting when the album came out. And my sister is not a Swiftie, and she's also not somebody who's deeply invested, but she knows a lot about it, obviously, because she's my sister. And her comment when Folklore came out was, well, we always knew that she could do it. And I was like, that is such an interesting thing to say about it.
That is a really interesting thing to say.
Like, we always knew that she could make an album like this. And I think a lot of people who are like Taylor sort of agnostic are like, why is she still doing these songs like We Are Never Ever Getting Back Together? Why is she ruining, you know, and people like that.
They're over
That's what
it.
I'm saying. Yeah, so it's like to have an album that was just the songs like Sad, Beautiful, Tragic, or the songs like Last Kiss, or the songs like, you know, any number of like singer-songwriter style songs that she had written on her other albums, an entire album of like a certain facet of her that we always knew was there but never got to see showcased at that level, I think there's something to be said about that.
You said it all, Queen.
Yeah.
You said it all, and I couldn't say anything else. I couldn't say anything else in response. You clocked.
I clocked.
Let's move on to her sister, shall we? Her beloved, rejected sister.
Yep.
Evermore is the definitive Taylor Swift album. It's one that I still can't believe exists. They made Folklore a masterpiece. Album that we Taylor Swift fans kind of knew that she had in her. I didn't think that she would ever make that album. She did, and blah, 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 blah. Amazing. And then boom. 5 months later, Evermore comes out, and it's building on what she was playing with, but she's just getting freakier with it. She's getting weirder with it. There's a bunch of songs about divorce. It's like kind of cohesive, but also just like wildly volatile and gorgeous, and it's a journey through the woods, and you get lost. And I just feel like she allowed herself to really come through in that record in a way where, like, obviously it's guys, you know, it's like cloaked in all of these stories, but I just feel like she allows a lot of like herself and the messiness and the weirdness of her and the kind of nerdiness of her to come out in a way that then TTPD does, I think, further down the line really well as well. Song tolerate it. I don't have enough time to talk about it, but what would you do if I took this dagger in me and removed it? Believe me, I could do it. That's really all I have to say. Also, if you really want to hurt yourself, listen to Tolerate It. You're Losing Me and So Long London all in a row.
Well,
You know
this is
what
a
I
girl who likes
really,
getting her feelings
yeah,
hurt.
you know what I really liked about that was the long pauses, the dramatic pauses to
Now, see,
let
this is why
everything
we
sink
need
in.
to be keeping our voicemails to 1 minute because that's the dead air. Girls, come on.
Girls, come on.
We can
Come
cut
on.
that out.
Come on. Everybody knows I'm the Evermore defender. I'm an Evermore appreciator. I prefer Evermore to Folklore, but I always say it's like I can't really call it a better album. I can
No.
never do that because I think I know why I like it and I have my personal reasons for like why I prefer it. It is a great album when it's snowing and you go for a walk and you listen to Evermore. You're like, this is the greatest album I've ever heard in my life.
Mm-hmm.
But like the quintessential Taylor Swift album,
It's a sister album.
yeah.
It's the only thing of its kind in the discography in that like it doesn't have to stand up on its own because it is attached to something else, and it does stand up on its own. But if you think about it, if we took Folklore away and we just had Evermore, that would really, I don't even know how I would think about it in that regard because it is so tonally different. Because Folklore was designed, I think, to be a really easy first listen. Evermore is like, girls,
Yeah, it was really sad.
I kept going into the forest and I kept getting scared and I kept crying and I kept trying to find my way out and I couldn't. And this is what I found in there.
And it's scary. Evermore is like a scarier record. Not that it's like actually
It
scary,
is.
but you know what I mean. Like
I'm
it's
scared.
darker, it's
Yeah.
deeper. You're going deeper into the woods, deeper into a lot of things that she
It's
already
more
touched
of her
on.
subconscious, which
Yeah.
is like a spooky place to be. There's something more witchy about this record.
Precisely. And that's why it's the diva and that's why it's the girl. And that's why we're spinning it 24/7. When September comes, Evermore rises from the dead and we have to spin it for the next 3-4 months. Those are the rules. I don't make them. That's just what it is. But
You're just
again,
following
it's
the lay of
to
the land.
me, and this is going to sound strange again because everybody knows I'm like the Evermore defender. I find it very seasonal, and a seasonal record could never truly be the Taylor Swift record. Is that fair to say? Again, I
think
love
so.
Evermore. I love it so much, but I just know what it is. You know what I mean?
She has her place. She has her time. It's
Yeah.
kind of like Reputation, actually.
Yeah,
They have a similar.
I was just thinking that.
And
Yeah,
they're sisters.
and they're sisters, and anybody can see that.
Anybody can see it. You
Anybody
ready
can
for it and
see
to
it.
tolerate
Yeah.
it and to ready for it. If you saw it, then you get it.
Tolerate
There
it
was
as
something
like
to behold.
the Taylor Swift song. I think. I don't even know if I would call it the track 5. I love Tolerate It. I think it's one of the most underrated, amazing songs in her whole discography. But I don't know. Does it represent? I think it represents something, but I don't think it represents the greatest of what she can do or like her
No.
work. You know what I mean?
But it is incredible and it kills me and
Yeah.
I am dead.
Yeah, and it's
So we know that. We've
I
been
love
knowing that.
song. Yeah, love.
I have to confess to you that I forgot to upload a Why Midnights is the Best album.
Well, there you go. And we don't have to hear it. We don't have to hear it.
It says everything that you need to know. Do we even really need to restate our feelings on Midnights? I feel like that's one album that as of late we've hashed to death.
We've hashed it to death. It's been really cut up, chopped and screwed. I will make a comment about Midnights. I have been thinking about it lately. Have I been spinning it? No, but I have been thinking about it. I think about Lavender Haze a lot, and I think about Midnight Rain, and I think about You're Losing Me a lot. And Hits Different. Oh, I just listened to that for the first time in months, like just the other night, and I was like, this is the best song I've ever heard in my life. Midnights is a dish best served cold. It really is.
Take out leftovers the next morning. It tastes better.
Yep. It tastes really good.
When you have tortured poets in your arms, it tastes better.
Yeah, it does. It does.
And speaking of the diva, why don't we finish with someone preaching the gospel?
Hi, thanks. This is Gia, and it feels a little blasphemous to pick something so recent, but I think that the Taylor Swift album is TTPD, and the song is The Black Dog. Overall, I think a classic, iconic Taylor song should have symbolism, interesting turns of phrase with bonus points if they're used differently than their most common use or understanding, a surprising bridge that you can preferably yell or cry to, and most importantly, themes or aims of catharsis and vengeance. The Black Dog has all of this in spades. You think of the symbolism of a black dog, meaning depression or death, the way she plays with what that means, plus the pub is called a black dog, and she later calls the subject of the song a dog with his tail between his legs. It is genius. Plus, most importantly, what makes this the song is the way your heart pounds when you're screaming in the car to the song, hoping Maddie or whatever crusty bitch broke your heart hears it. This Taylor's crushed, but she's well enough to hope that you suffer for what you did to her, and that is just quintessential Taylor at her best. I think that the album overall is really specific to Taylor's life, but painfully relatable, and it's the best one. If you don't get TTPD, then you don't get Taylor. Read a book, you Philistines. Okay, that is all. I love you guys, both independently and together, though you're both wrong about Robin. Sorry. Love you. Bye.
They
Well,
always
she
got to
has
throw
to
something
say
in
that.
there.
She's the torture poet's warrior. She has
She's
to say
the torture
that.
poetologist.
I really,
when you
really
said
enjoyed
that she's. What did she say? That you're crushed, but you're well enough to make them suffer. Yes.
Yeah. Well, that's her whole thing. That's her
Yes.
bag. And I
Mhm.
really liked the stuff that she said about the black dog. I don't know if I would have immediately thought of that one, even as the song from Torture Poets, let alone like the song from Taylor's discography. But her reasoning was sound, and I thought that she made a lot of good points. Because
And I love the
see,
black dog.
Yeah, and I love the black dog. I mean, we were there. Let's we forget we were
Oh,
there.
wind
We were
in
there.
my damn hair.
I campaigned for that song
I
so
was
hard. I was like, I get the
there.
black dog, or I'm putting a bullet in my brain because I had to have.
I'll take it. And you know what? So Long London or the black dog. I'm picking the black dog.
Oh, interesting. Okay.
I'm picking her.
He's picking her. I think I would still pick So Long London. I love that song, but I do love the black dog.
Well, you didn't get
I
it,
do
bitch.
really like it. Well, you didn't get it, bitch. And many such cases. Many such cases, by the way. Did she play So Long London in London? I don't know if she did.
I think the last show.
She
The
did.
last
Okay.
show. Well, we kind of
let's
knew
say
she
it.
was going to do that, but it was
Well, I
wrong
mean,
for
you
her
have
anyway.
to. You have to. I mean, what's the point then?
I mean,
But-
you don't need So Long London when you get us featuring Gracie Abrams.
We don't have to bring that up. We don't have to bring that up. We
Us
really
go
don't.
one episode without mentioning that challenge.
Yeah. And we would fail every single time.
Failed.
I think Torture Poets is one of those things where, like, yeah, it's still a little bit too early to tell, but I've been saying I think it's one of her best albums, and I really do believe that, like, if you really are a Swiftie, quote unquote Swiftie, and you don't get Torture Poets, you don't get Taylor. Like, that's just it. You don't have to think it's the best album ever, but like, if you're saying I don't think it's good, it's like, okay, well then, what are you doing here?
I've also
we're
moved
eating.
on from the reasoning that I stuck to for a while, which was like, this is for the Swifties, and like, it's not for the regular listener. But like, yes, it is. If you're smart and you have ears and you have taste, it's a
Right.
great album. And if you don't listen to it again, you're a Philistine. Read a book.
Yeah, read a book. I really think that this is a problem. And you know what I think the real problem is? Can I speak on this? You guys want to listen to your TikTok songs, and you want to go 2 minutes and 5 seconds. That's what you want. And Torture
You want
Poets
Call
said,
Me
I'm
When
not
You
doing
Break
it.
Up.
I won't do it. I'm not doing it. I'm going to say everything that I have to say, and it's going to be 5 minutes long, and you're going to sit there and listen to it. And people said, I don't want to. And that's why. You see how that works? And
You
yet it was still the
see?
top streamed album, still the highest selling album, because people do want to read. This is my truth.
Mm-hmm.
Write it down.
And you know what? I'm saying yes. Agreed. Well, that is what the Snake Nation thinks the best Taylor Swift albums are. And I was seated.
I liked it. I thought everybody had some really good points, even the crazy ones.
Except for the girl who said that Me was her best song.
Yeah,
because
no, that I'm
you
not abiding
couldn't
that. You
even
gotta
keep a
gather
straight
yourself.
face.
You got to get up on your good foot because
You
that's
couldn't
not
even
normal.
keep a straight face yourself.
No,
You
and we clocked
knew
you, and we
that it
clocked
was
you.
wrong. Yeah.
Mhm.
And sorry, you just can't get past us. Not past the Snakes and Cheryl.
No, not on our watch.
We're on the line. And if you want to listen to a whole other hour of Phone a Snake, patreon.com/Swiftologist, we're going to be talking about so many things. You don't even know what we're going to be getting into today. We're going to be talking about, I'm not even going to tell you. I'm not even going to tell you because you have to go behind the paywall and figure it out. God bless.
That's all there is to it.
God bless.